Super aggregation. Tier 1 operators say they've solved it.
But what about smart challengers like us?
Why should they add TV to their offering in the first place?
And how do you make money out of it?
How do you strike deals with big content providers?
And how do you get even a seat at the table?
Yeah, that's where Zattoo comes in.
How do they handle technical complexity?
UX,
Billing.
technical integration.
It's a lot.
Advertising?
For sure. But what is the right model?
Subscriptions, advertising, seamless integration.
Learn all about it in our upcoming webinar.
Join us on April 29th.
We're looking forward to seeing you there.
And now it is April 29th and we are here. So welcome to this webinar and panel discussion. We are excited to see you here with us. So this is the first episode of Zattoo Stream Insights, the new series featuring those who shape and make the TV industry. Today we'll not discuss anything less than the craft of super aggregation, or for some it may be the art of super aggregation. We'll touch on UX, billing, technical integration, all the strategies that help you to make money, because that's what it's all about. My name is Andy Waltenspiel, and in my day job, I am running a Munich-based consultancy where I connect the dots. That means I work with vendors and operators on go-to-market and innovation strategy, and also on public speaking. Enough about that, let's start, and I welcome my two cool guests here. We have Alexandre Perret from Solved, Switzerland. Hi, Alex. From Lausanne, hello. And Roger Elsener, CEO of Zattoo from Berlin today. Hey guys, how are you?
Good.
Very good.
Very good. Great to have you. Before we start with the discussion on super aggregation, maybe please introduce yourselves, your role, and a few words about your company. And Alex, maybe you want to start?
Sure. Thanks by the way for the invitation. So I'm Alex. I'm a product manager for TV and content at Solved. Just a few words about Solved for those who don't know. So we're a Swiss telecom operator. We historically offer first mobile, premium mobile, and then we launched fixed internet as well. So in Switzerland, we are known for innovation and especially competitive pricing and very good price to quality ratio. We've also been recognized as Switzerland's fastest fixed internet according to independent tests from Ookla. So we are very proud of that. And I think we were world premiere offering 10 gigabit symmetrical speeds over internet, which is our core value proposition for our subscribers. And in terms of numbers, so currently we're reaching 1.7 million mobile subs, and a little bit above 250,000 of fixed internet subs. And there we are very much growing with the expansion of the fiber footprint in Switzerland. So in a nutshell, that's me and Solved.
Cool. You called yourself in the trailer a smart challenger. We'll explore what that means and how successful you are with that. It seems you are, but we'll save that for a bit later. First, Roger, a few words about yourself. You're 7 months with Zattoo now, almost on the day. How has been the ride? What is your role? And give us a few highlights about Zattoo, please.
Yeah, well, it's actually, I think it's been 6 months so far. I consider myself still a fresh Zattooie. But as you can imagine, since our business runs at a very, very fast pace, I feel already quite well settled. So thanks for having me today. Maybe also a couple of words on Zattoo. We are operating in the B2B environment. That's what you can see on this sheet here. We are present in 11 countries, have over 30 customers, and do software as a service and TV as a service solutions. But also we do have our consumer business. where we have direct consumer operations in Germany, Switzerland, and Austria.
Perfect. So that means you actually know what you're talking about, because whatever you're offering to others as a B2B offering is something you have tried and tested yourself in Germany.
It is indeed quite an advantage, to be honest, to work in both fields. And also, of course, 20 years of experience. We're celebrating our 20th anniversary this year, also helps. But yes, of course, many things that we will implement in our TV as a service offer is basically derived from our experience in the consumer business.
Yeah, definitely makes sense and should give a lot of credibility as well. So super aggregation, let's set the scene and talk about super aggregation. What is it? What does it mean? And I want to hear from you, what does it not mean? Like, is having an app store already super aggregation? Or what's the core of super aggregation for you? And maybe Roger, will stay with you to start, and then I also want to hear from Alex.
Well, look, super aggregation basically means aggregating content. It also means everything else besides the classical video content. So it can also mean metadata, etc. And aggregation means bringing those things together in a meaningful way so that the consumers can enjoy the content experience. And of course, there's multiple levels of depths. But basically, the first and foremost and the most important one, in my opinion, is accessibility, right, to the content. If you don't have access on your platform in any way, no matter how deep you're integrated, you kind of lose out on the subject of aggregation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so have all the relevant content and make it easy to access. Alex, from your point of view, what would you add?
Well, I think for us, we share a bit the same definition. I think for us, it was really a key element when we launched in 2018. We launched a bit late in the market. So the market was very much dominated by big players like Swisscom, Sunrise, and UPC at that time. So we couldn't just copy them, right? So we had to have something more innovative, that was really, making more value and make us stand out on the market. So I think we understood that, and before it was called super aggregation, we decided to, when we talked about launching TV, we decided to, rather than building on legacy system, we partnered with Apple, and we made Apple TV 4K our set-top box from day one. And I think this allowed us to skip all the costly proprietary hardware developments, and also then to deliver a premium and future-proof experience where customers had access basically to what you mentioned, an app store, and could not only benefit from sold TV services, but also from the regular Netflix, Disney Plus apps, and all very much easily accessible. And I think that's kind of the first stage of super aggregation, as Roger mentioned as well. It's having a platform that offers the customers the liberty to choose from the different content types. And I think we started. This was our initial building blocks. So focusing on a kind of open ecosystem, even if Apple is not fully open, but still very widely adopted in Switzerland. So we try to position ourselves as a super aggregator without getting also bogged down by all the heavy backend investments.
Okay. This is a good time to ask, what does it mean to be a smart challenger? You do things differently. You mentioned Swisscom, Sunrise. You're not like Deutsche Telekom or Telefonica. First of all, you're not multinational. But where would you say, what does it take to be a smart challenger? What's the core of it?
I'm not sure I can give you the exact recipe, but I think it's a bit related to what I mentioned before, the competitive environment we are in, and we we were not used to on the fixed operation when we launched fixed in 2018. And also for the story, we launched mobile at the end of the 90s, so we are pretty much mature on the mobile network. But the fixed network is another story, right? So as I said, we couldn't just copy. And I would say being a smart challenger, it's really our DNA as a company. Every day we work very focused. We try to be very agile and fast, and customer centric, I would say, in every decision we take. And maybe just a few words on how we did it differently to the other when we introduced the fixed services in 2018. So the first thing was, launching a fiber only, so fiber first, I would say, offer. So we were the first offer with a gigabit internet at very remarkably, let's say, low prices. Then secondly, I think our positioning is also to be very simple and transparent. So there is never hidden fee, there is no confusing bundle. So everything is straightforward for the customer. They know what they get. And then the last thing regarding TV is what I mentioned before. So it's really this partnership with Apple at the beginning and, focusing on an open ecosystem.
Very cool. Super aggregation is one, if you just look at the TV and what are the TV contents, but just by adding from mobile, adding fixed and TV to it, could be seen as a step in becoming a super aggregator in the first place. What considerations made you say, okay, we cannot just survive or be successful if we only do mobile? Why did you add TV in the first place? Can you share a bit of the thinking?
I think, it's the same logic than on TV aggregation. The more services a customer bundles with you, the longer he will stay with you, the more sticky he gets. So basically, I think that's the core reasoning to expand to fixed network. And then I think also contextually, there was an opportunity with the deployment of the fiber in Switzerland, which was also, a great opportunity to not only, go on this market, but bring cutting edge technology to the customers with the 10 gig technology. So I would say it's a bit of, technical opportunity and then this, bundling, let's say, strategy, which made a lot of sense for us.
Makes a lot of sense. Roger, you said you have, on the slide, we saw something like 30 customers. Do they all have a similar reasoning for adding TV to their portfolio, like we just heard from Alex? Or are there some other motivations as well?
Well, basically, I would say you could... you see mainly two clusters. One of the clusters is what Alex just described, right? ISPs, mobile operators that have not yet had so far a TV service and are seeing the benefit of a triple play, a quadruple play offer with the obvious advantages that Alex also pointed out. Others might have had already a TV service, like a classical TV operator in mid-size that says, "Oh, this is really becoming quite complex nowadays." With all those content rights that need to be cleared, with the complexity of digitizing our networks, with the two-way based technologies like video on demand, etc. So that they say, before I actually invest in an own platform, I rather go with a smart challenger, which Zattoo, just like Solved, is actually also. And see my luck in a TV as a service platform. So for those two clusters, I would say we are the right fit, absolutely. And most of the 30 customers we do have in Europe do fit in either one or the other of those buckets.
Okay. So 30 customers, several millions of end customers there. What would you say are some of the ingredients and success factors? Why did, I mean, you're there 6 months, you can look back at the great history. What would you say are some of the ingredients and success factors for Zattoo? Why did it work so well so far?
Well, I mean, at least what I can say is it wasn't me, right? But no, seriously, I think what Zattoo did over the last 20 years was not even ambitious. It was much more, right? It was beginning from a position where Zattoo was one of the first OTT TV operators that actually existed, becoming a 360 content operator that stands really out of the crowd. That is something that is quite remarkable, that I would say you can see throughout the history of Zattoo. So what made it successful, I think, first of all, the long-standing experience and the direct consumer business really got a thorough understanding of consumer needs, right? And that's where we start. When we do TV services, when we do video services, it's always consumer-centric. That's how we think, and that's how we develop our services. Then what also helps is to, I mean, maybe it just happened to be the case because the company was founded in Switzerland and its early stages were in Germany. So both markets are very unique, right? You have Switzerland, where a lot of things happening are in collecting society-based content licensing, which allowed Switzerland to be one of the front runners in potential feature development of content, because you didn't necessarily have to go and negotiate each single bit and piece with each single content provider. So that made Switzerland quite a unique market. And Germany, on the other hand, is highly regulated and also quite a tricky market to play in. And, you know, to have a substantial knowledge of both markets, that really helps to bring that service also to other territories, because there is almost no other territories than Switzerland and Germany where you would, happen to encounter difficulties we have not yet mastered so far. So I think Zattoo was in a very good position to step beyond the classical markets of Switzerland, Germany, and Austria, and did that quite successful. You know, lately we closed contracts in Denmark. We closed contracts in the Netherlands. So it's quite substantially founded what we do, and it is for us actually really doable to conquer new territories, new markets, and new countries at a reasonable amount of additional invest and handling complexity.
It definitely helps that the been there, done that on the two extremes. Switzerland, very deregulated, Germany, super tough. So there's everything in between, and you build a platform that works for that. Alex, you could have, I just saw a LinkedIn post this morning where somebody said, oh, we can have, these are the best in Reco Engine, these are the best in UI, these are the best in CDN. You could have cherry-picked and find an interesting SI who puts it all together. You did not do it because super aggregation is not a walk in the park. So why did you not go that route? Maybe the answer is very easy. I guess it is. And what are the hurdles of being one of these super aggregators?
Yeah, good question. I think we didn't go that route because at the time of launching, I mean, we had absolutely no experience whatsoever on TV, right? So we were coming from mobile. I wasn't even there, but I'm speaking for the people on the behalf of the people who launched. So it was discovering a whole new green field for us. So we were actually looking for a strategic partner who understood, what it means, first also to fight for your customers on the TV service front, and then understanding also of the technology behind that. And I think also the content licensing topic is something that's, was fairly new to us. So, and in particular, we were also looking at a company who had, also a sort of a proven scalability. So how do you handle hundreds of thousands of concurrent streams? For us, it was very important to have a partner who had done that and had handled volumes as well, because we wanted to grow also from day one. So I think maybe I'm a bit diverging on why we partner also with Zattoo at the time, but I can also, based on what Roger said, I think there were many similarities between our companies and many complementarities, which made us, good partners at the start. And I think the thing of Zattoo being in the B2C business for years was really a huge advantage for us, because it's really, brought what I would say product sensibility to Zattoo team. They understood the little details, like channel zapping time. Before you work on TV, I mean, do you know it's kind of a key criteria for your TV solution to be well accepted by your customers? So, and they actually delivered a very good performance on that front. And then onboarding flows, when you switch on your box, and what's the path to actually be able to watch TV and benefit from your content. And that was all very, very straightforward, very experienced, and brought us a lot of value in terms of customer satisfaction. So so that's a bit about the choice of Zattoo. Now you had a second question, or?
What are the hurdles, the difficulties of becoming the super aggregation? Some of them you answered.
Yeah, maybe to add on that, I think for us, what's important in the competitive landscape is time to market. And we have to react fast. We're the smart challenger, and we have to be able to bring innovation, new content. If we can do it faster than the big ones, then that's all what we can take on top. So speed is really our advantage, and there, I mean, it comes with technical considerations. Like, I think in this world of super aggregation, we should work on on building APIs rather than integrating or having custom integration with partners, for example. And I mean, this then comes down to IT complexity as well. And I think it's important, and that's what we experience with Zattoo in our partnership, is that we also need to kind of co-design what are our integration playbooks. Like, how do we add a Netflix? How do we add a Disney? How do we add a VOD catalog? How do we add an SVOD catalog to our app? What are the different possible scenarios? And we've had gathered quite a lot of experience together with Zattoo on how to do that. So I would say there is also a big learning curve to that, and a big benefit to work with Zattoo as a partner in that domain.
Very cool. So I took note. You said you looked for a strategic partner who knows the tech, understands customers, proven scalability, B2C expertise was super important. Roger, are you happy with that description about your capabilities?
Yeah, I am. We pre-discussed that he has to say exactly that, and he'll probably get a beer afterwards for saying that. Now, what I would like to add is you could hear that a bit from what Alex just said. It's two teams working together, two teams growing together, two teams sharing experience together, not withholding, any issues, constraints, problems. It's very much, doing this together. And what I can say for Zattoo, we do have a great team here. We have many employees that have been here for 10 years and more. So I might be the youngest one here in the crowd. But what I can definitely say is that we do have a great team, and we see the success in working together openly, frankly. And you have your good days, you have your bad hair days. That all happens, but we always consider ourselves as partners of our clients.
That's not always a given, especially having worked with big tier 1 telcos for quite a while myself. And that means it's not always nice as a vendor to be there or as a supplier, but you both use the term independently, partnerships. And it seems you're working like that. It's almost like one team?
I would say so. And as challengers, what we are what we will be also, and what we want to be. You need to be faster. You need to be more flexible in what you do, because it's not the investments that will be higher on Salt's end than, for example, on Swisscom's end as their competitor in Switzerland. So you need to find other ways to outsmart the incumbents.
Obviously, the APIs that you mentioned, Alex, helps if you have an API and said, okay, yeah, but I already have, well, Greenfield is easy. It's okay, you can take everything. But if you say, I already have a contract with one of these metadata providers or one of these reco engines and I need to honor it. So how easy is it to add another API or to add another metadata provider, to stay with the example, Roger? Is that easy?
Yeah, I would say it's fairly easy. We work with multiple third parties in that field, like Gracenote or Simply TV, but we also get metadata from content partners like Amazon Prime or Canal Plus in the context of Salt. So that flexibility is very important, because as you can imagine, we can't write metadata ourselves. So we are dependent on good third-party information, and then the intelligence can play on our end, where we then start working with AI metadata recommendations, etc. But the accessibility needs to be a given, and our flexibility in our API is core to that.
Definitely, the platform needs to work and needs to work smoothly and add new stuff quickly. But you said, Alex, what if I want to add Disney? What if I want to add another SVOD? Let's talk content for a second. How do you know which is the right content to add? Should I add 4, 5, 10, another 200 fast channels or another 500 fast channels? Where does super start? Where does super end? And when is super too much? Alex first, and then also Roger, you can add to it.
I think from our perspective, there are several factors to consider. I think, firstly, as I said at the beginning, we started with an open ecosystem so that, every customer could, without the need of being a Salt customer even, could use their third-party subscriptions freely on their set-top boxes, right? To the contrary of some operators who were even locking access, to certain third-party apps. let's say, more back in the days, but we still see that today. So we kind of were open at the beginning. Then the question is, what do we want to integrate in terms of, you know, billing, to provide a single bill to customers, and potentially, you know, a little discount that they will be looking for by bundling these amounts. I think in this domain, for us, it has always been a bit tactical. So basically, again, we try to strike deal with real partners similar to us, and you know, we managed to do that quite quickly after the launch with Canal Plus and Sky, who are, you know, also present in Switzerland, with whom we talk, you know, on a weekly basis. So this was more, let's say, a tactical approach. And then I would say for the others, I have one example in mind. You know, it's also due to the fact that we started a partnership with Apple when we launched the Apple TV box. So we were basically in a situation where we had to tear down our own VOD service that we had at the launch, and we had to find a backup solution. And there, together with Apple and Zattoo, we managed to integrate Apple TV Plus catalog in our app. I wouldn't say within weeks, but it was almost that. So within a few months, we were able, you know, to substitute a normal VOD, TVOD, let's say, service with an Apple TV Plus integration. And that again was, let's say, also tactical reaction to, let's say, contractual changes on our side. So this was very, very successful. And then maybe last point, where it's a bit less tactical. As I mentioned, we're just above a 250,000 subscribers. So for the likes of Netflix, Disney, it's rather small, right?
Yes.
So we have an issue of size there, and although we have close contacts to them, we're still not, you know, big enough for them to enter into discussions for bundling and so on. Or if we would agree to pay huge minimum guarantees, we could have them, but this doesn't make any sense, right? Economically. So this is actually one of the challenges we have, and that's where also we're working with Zattoo to you know, to have kind of a network effect, a volume effect, and potentially bring these services as bundles to our customers.
Thank you for that insight on how was it for you. I would have also added Apple said, okay, if you are a greenfield, basically you started with zero, and now there's a question for Roger. There probably several of your customers face the same. We're small, Netflix doesn't listen to us, Disney doesn't pick up the phone, Apple ignores us. How can you help, Roger?
Yeah. We can obviously help with our European-wide scale, but to pick up that Netflix topic Alex just mentioned, when you want to have a bundle integration that you also market in your territory, that definitely means that you also need to be linked with the Netflix marketing department. Yep. Right, and this is where the bottleneck basically lies, and not in the technical integration of Netflix into a service. Of course, that is also something that needs to be tackled. But what I said at the very beginning, our platform is able to operate Netflix, of course, right? So it's basically it's there, which is always you know, at least good for a plan B for every operator. And what also needs to be said is that tier one operators, incumbents, haven't always been just happy with such bundles, because you also need to consider that if you have streaming bundles out of 2, 3, or 4 streamers, what do you do if they increase prices? What do you do if they introduce like hybrid packages, and you always promoted this package to be ad-free, for example. So it also adds a different level of complexity that can be handled by most tier one players, but that can be quite a challenge for everybody else. So it's not necessarily just something that your ambition tells you, I want to have it. So always consider the downsides as well. And sometimes availability as such that we can obviously offer might be you being better off as a mid-sized tier operator.
And maybe you can even learn from the big ones and what does not work. And instead of saying gut feeling, you also have some data-driven decisions and say, listen to your customers, learn from the others on what to integrate into your bundling strategy and maybe what not. So I know there are some examples in the Nordics that doing well despite not having Netflix as part of their content packages, because there maybe local content is much more important, but that's country by country. And I nothing against Netflix. I love Netflix. Love my friends at Netflix. Okay, so we talked about that. So we have the right content, we have the tech. Let's talk about UX. If I have all that, but it's difficult to find, I will, and I often see that. I go and try to search something, and after 10 minutes, I'm frustrated, and then I watch nothing. I go into computer and work, or read a book. How do you make sure you have great UX? It sounds so simple, but how do you get there? Who wants to take that one?
Well, I can start if you want.
Yeah, go.
Well, first of all, I think paramount is that we remind ourselves of the fact that still way more than 50% of the content is consumed linear.
Mm-hmm. Is that true for all countries?
It is true for all countries. In Switzerland, you have very, very progressed markets because the catch-up TV service is just great. You have a 7-day catch-up of all your channels, which basically brings you a service of 50,000 events per week that come in fresh and on demand. So that drives a lot of on-demand usage, but even in Switzerland, it's still above the 50% mark that linear still plays a role. Having said that, because I think that is important, it's not about only bringing, visibility and comfort in the search experience of on-demand content. It's something that you need to think of as on-demand content plus linear content, or linear content plus on-demand content. So that's basically setting the stage, I think. And there, the classical EPG that we all know, right? The so-called grid EPG is still a very, very valid tool, right? So we would not let that go anytime soon, to be honest. Yeah. But then, of course, you also have those moments that every one of us already has experienced, like minutes of searching through SWOT catalogs on Disney Plus or Netflix and the likes, and the missing link between the different services, and the missing link also between those SWOT services and the linear TV experience. So I think this is where we need to support the consumer to find order in this overwhelming shelf space of content. Mm-hmm. Right? And this is where we try to invest our intelligence in, so that we can have search and recommendation over as many services as ever possible to link those worlds and make consumption easy. Because if consumption is easy, there will be more consumption, there will be more stickiness on your platform, and I think this game is the game you wanna play in, and this game is the game you want not necessarily to win, but to support your customers as good as it gets.
Yeah. And you say basically, I hear you say it's not one size fits all, and linear, although we always hear, yeah, linear is dead and broadcasters, good luck, bye bye. Not happening anytime soon. And several, although I would say my kids, they're teens, they do not know what an EPG is, but there is quite a lot of people, and actually those with high income and available
Yeah.
media budget to spend, they
We,
do it a lot.
we actually see a very different trend also. Of course, video on demand is on the winning track and is increasing, but I mean we launched dozens of fast channels a year, and we wouldn't do that if they weren't watched, right? So the consumption of those channels is actually quite significant. So the linear long tail, if you want to say so, together with the opportunities it brings in additional ad sales monetization, is quite a significant and important new business field that is rising.
Okay. We'll get back there to fast, and when we talk about how to make money, we save the best for last. But Alex, anything you would like to add for what does UX, great UX, consist of? Anything we have not yet touched on? What would you say is a great UX?
Well, I think Roger said it well, and he's the expert in that field. But I would say from the customer perspective, really having a unified interface, allowing you to discover all the content that is at your fingertip, that's paramount for the user experience. It needs to be fast, quick, reliable, and adding also jumping on the fast channel. I was gonna talk about that as well, because as we see on our stats, we have actually not only 90% of our audience is watching live in general on average. So when we say linear is not dead, I would even say live is not dead. And I think fast channel, although they are accessible, they have also replay feature available. That's a very interesting opportunity, both for the user experience, but also, as Roger mentioned, for additional revenue generation for an operator like us. And here it was again also a good example where Zattoo brought the technology, the content, and allowed us, to offer them a large catalog of fast channel very quickly.
Let's talk about fast channels, or let's talk about monetization in general. I mean, you have classical subscription models if you talk about the likes of Sky. You have classical pure advertising if you talk about broadcasters. Where is the market shifting? Are we going full advertising? Will there be hybrid models? What do you think for Salt? And maybe Roger, what do you see then for others? But Alex, you go first.
Well, in general, I think when you read the news, there is no wonder that subsidized tiers are really the big thing right now. You see how Netflix and the Disneys have increased market share in this domain. So I think for me, it's a no-brainer that it will become kind of the biggest tier in the different third-party provider offers. From our perspective, our customers, we don't see this part, right? As an operator, when one of our subscriber takes an ad-supported tier from a third-party provider, so we don't have specific, statistics on that. But I think what's important for us, we started, with basic TV, right? Like Roger mentioned, in Switzerland, we have this kind of free-to-air regime where we can offer hundreds of TV channels almost for free. So we started from that, and then we started thinking about monetization as a second stage. Because also for us, from an operator perspective, it's important to understand that TV is more, let's say, a retention tool, than a revenue generation tool. So as we say, it makes the customer more sticky. We operate really at low margin, close to break even on the TV side. But overall, what we believe is that it has indirect profitability. I think it reduces customer acquisition costs, if you have a compelling TV offer. But then it also increases the lifetime value of your customers because they're more sticky. So they're gonna, contribute to broadband revenues over time. So for us, I think that was the core thing. And then monetization, we had along the way this great opportunity of advertising that came with fast. And I think us as Salt, we really jumped on the train and are adding channels quite substantially to really start monetizing TV.
Okay. Thank you, Alex, for that. So TV retention tool, reduce customer acquisition cost, increase the lifetime value. I guess that's true for most of your customers as well, Roger. Are there other motivations, and how can you make money and make TV more of a revenue generator as well?
To put it in one sentence, I think it's about extending reach, right? And increasing ARPU. That's the game we're playing in. And expanding reach comes with a good mix of low price packages that are usually ad funded, but at the same time also, of course, the classical pay tiers without ads or the hybrid forms. So throughout that scale, I think you reach more new clients. And the ARPU, on the other hand, is also something that you can drive both ways with subscriptions and with advertising income. So and that hasn't really changed over the last years. We used to have free-to-air channels and linear pay TV channels. So the model as such, the monetization model has always been there. And there has always been hybrid forms of it. So now we are bringing that to the nonlinear world, which is really new, is that we can now help distributors to also participate in the ad sales game with fast, right? Because before those partners were just redistributor of content. Right. And the monetization of the ads solely lied in the hands of the content providers. Now that we have this technical angle that makes premium ad inventory out of classical TV ad inventory, where we either replace existing advertising blocks or we insert new CTV ads into fast channels, that brings us as a technical provider in the game, and it brings the distributor into the game. Since we are now able to charge a technical fee that helps bring a premium to the content provider. So the whole ecosystem is expanding into our field, which then helps also increase the ARPU. And in the case of Salt, we had quite a successful year in 2024, where we actually created substantial money, which was to the benefit of both the operator and Zattoo, and also something that then, of course, brings mutual benefit in the monetization of the platform.
Very cool. Alex, you realized Roger talked about Salt and said we. So that's real partnership here.
Yeah, right.
I like it. Dear audience, we're soon going to go to Q&A. So if you have any questions for the two gentlemen here, let us know. Use the Q&A widget. I'll get them and read them to the two gentlemen. And start now if you have any. But I have a few more questions for you in the beginning before we get there. So let's summarize. We're close to the end. We have like 8 minutes left. If you say key takeaways, Alex, let's say there is one smart challenger in the Nordics that wants to do something similar like you, has great mobile accounts already and wants to go full speed and work on customer lifetime value, work on removing churn and so on. What would you tell them? A few words of advice. How do you do it? What are the mistakes to avoid?
Well, I would say first to choose the right partner. So don't reinvent the wheel, right? I mean, there are people out there who know how to do it. So choose the right one, focus on a long-term partnership and vision. And I think also on what I said, build on APIs, try to standardize your technical integration, and always keep the customer in mind. So really, you need to have seamless, engaging, and value-driven experience for users. It needs to be frictionless on the UX side, and be really aware of your costs and try to maximize the upside potentials with advertisements, but also with more standard approaches like pay TV. So I don't know if that will help, but I'm happy also to share more offline if needed.
Perfect. Thank you for the offer, Alex. There might be some who want to take you up on that. Roger, what would you say are key success factors other than go with Zattoo? That's too easy.
Oh, you just took away my answer. Choose a partner that has a substantial size to offer reliable support. Choose a partner that has ideally multi-country experience. Choose a partner that is able to work at scale. Live streaming, you saw the examples, and I also have friends at Netflix, but you saw the examples of their live streaming attempts. So it's not an easy field to play in. So see for yourself that you have a scalable partner, and a scalable solution. And first and foremost, seek someone that you think your team trusts working with on the long run, because it's a people's business. Even though we do technology here, it's a people's business. And to sum it all up, yes, I think Zattoo is just that.
Perfect. Good. So let's go to questions. There are a few here. One is from Jonas. Thank you for that. I'll read it here from the other screen. What challenges and opportunities do you see with reaching younger audiences? I mentioned my kids who don't know the EPG. They consume stuff mostly on mobile or on YouTube. How can you reach the young audiences? How challenging is it? What can you do?
Shall I say something to that?
Yeah, go.
From a content perspective, the only thing that really has changed is that short form content is on the rise. It's not that long form content is like diminishing. It's still there. Maybe more serious than movies today, but it's still there. But what's newly come up is basically short form content. So we should all think of how can we bring those worlds together in the future, so that we don't miss out on that side of the content. That also means that the topic of super aggregation in the future will, come also a topic considering social media platforms, for example. So, but what I would also say is that I don't think that the young audience is lost, since they still consume similar content that we do. They still are human beings and prefer watching content on big screens rather than on small screens. They do that at the very latest stage when they have reconquered the living room, so meaning when they grew up, because it's just a natural behavior of human being that we do like big screens. So that will not go away. So it's not a lost space, I would also say. But then again, I don't think that we desperately just need to try to win them back. They'll find their way anyway, as long as there is good enough premium content on your platform.
Okay, thank you for that, Roger. Alex, I mean, you are living and breathing it every day. You have 1.7 million mobile subscribers. If you want, you can share the average age of your subscribers. But how is it for you getting to the younger audiences? And if they use it mobile, TV, web platforms, how do you make sure they all have a great experience, regardless of what device they use?
Yeah, I think what's really important for us and for this generation is the network quality, because as Roger mentioned, we can talk about platform fragmentation. They use a lot of apps like YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and so on, and we will not bundle, or at least it's not planned, bundle that in our offers. But what they care about is to have a working access. So basically, we sell them broadband, and we make sure that broadband and mobile is working optimally for them. And then they can pick and choose whatever services they want. They will still be with us, right? And I think as they will evolve and become, more ages like us, they will also probably go to a more traditional consumption model. Rejoin the living room and watch the same old linear TV. So I think there will be also an evolution of these people going to more traditional services over time. So I think for us, really bring them the network, high speed, low latency, and then keep them as happy customers on that front, and gradually also convert them to TV services over time.
And there's a big debate of what is TV. Is watching TikTok TV? Maybe we need to redefine what does TV mean. Because for me, I would say doing this on your mobile is the equivalent of zapping what we did when we were kids. So the lean back experience instead of lean forward is something that has been a bit neglected, I feel. So with Shorts, it's coming back with autoplay, because TikTok Insta is nothing but it's a playlist. It's an AI created playlist, but it's a playlist. It's like linear TV in the old days. And a fast is also linear TV. If you want to see it's just curated, or it's done by AI. Gentlemen, I have the feeling we could continue for another hour, but I fear we have reached the end of our time slot here, and you two have a business to run, or several businesses to run. It's been a pleasure, and sorry for those who we couldn't take the questions. Maybe we get back to you via email. So I think we have one slide here before we say goodbye with one email address. If you want to have more input, either find Zattoo, you can write to Hans Schemp and he will get back to you with answers to your questions, or you find Roger or Alex or myself on LinkedIn, and then we can discuss offline further. Roger, Alex, been a pleasure discussing with you. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being here in Zattoo Stream Insights, the first in a series. And dear audience, if you enjoyed that, please do a thumbs up on LinkedIn, do a comments on our posts, You'll get the recording soon. Share it with your friends if you want. And see you next time. Thank you, everybody. And thank you for having us in this show. Thanks.